The following is a presentation of the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner. Broadcasting from the campus of Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, the Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show is on the air. Your chance to hear from Liberty Women's Basketball head coach Carey Green comes your way on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner. The Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show is presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Start banking with Freedom First today. The Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show is also brought to you by Carter Bank, Life Lived Full, Earthright Mid-Atlantic, your trusted solar and energy efficiency experts. By Foster Fuels, providing reliable service for 100 years. Freedom Heating and Air, serving those who serve us. Carl Miller Realty, caring, competent, trusted advisors. Lynchburg Nissan, nobody beats our prices, nobody. Sentry Exteriors, experience and quality you can trust. Schedule a free estimate at sentryexteriors.com. And by Thompson Brooks Insurance, planning today for tomorrow.
The Hodges with 5 at the top of the arc. She dumps it inside to Smuda. Smuda scoops to the hoop and scores. Beautifully run offense by the Lady Flames.
Now let's talk Liberty Flames women's basketball. Here's your host, the voice of the Lady Flames, Jamie Hall.
Welcome into this week's Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show. We got a big program ahead for you as the Lady Flames are coming down to the home stretch of the Conference USA season. We'll talk to head coach Carey Green about this last week's game and the upcoming games, the next 4 games, which are huge. A couple on the road against Jack State and Kennesaw State, and then the 2 that I think everybody's had circled on their calendar since probably the first week of the season, because it's been that long since the teams have played, when the Lady Flames host both Middle Tennessee and Western Kentucky the last week of the regular season in Liberty Arena. If you want information on how you can get tickets to those games, you can go to libertyflames.com and find all that out. But right now we have our featured Lady Flame this week, and it is Elisabeth. Make sure I'm getting it right, okay? I'm so nervous when you're here because I feel like I've okay. I'm gonna have you say it, and then I'm gonna see if I've been saying it right.
It's Aegisdottir.
I think I've been doing pretty good. I might put too much of an H at the end of it, like shh. Aegisdottir.
Oh,
and so but see, I had all this confidence. I've had all the season long. I felt like I've been saying this right, and I felt great about it. And then I'm actually sitting across from you, and I lose all my confidence, and I get nervous, and I didn't even try it. And so I made you say it first. But I know a lot of your teammates just call you Liz now, right?
That's right.
Kind of. Is that a nickname that is just American to you, or is that back home as well?
No, it's just America.
Just American.
Yeah.
And it's almost like Liz is with a Z.
They write it with a Z too.
They write it with a Z too. Did it take a little while to get used to?
No, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's quick, short, Yeah. Like Coach Green, does he say Liz?
Yeah.
Okay, because I know he likes to keep short. Like Bella is Belle, and I think everybody's kind of says Zero now instead of Jordan. So I think everybody kind of says shorten. Short little quick nicknames. I guess it's good because when you're playing a game, you don't have a lot of time to say, Elisabeth, give me the ball. So it's pretty cool. Well, how are you?
I'm really good. How are you?
I'm good. Very good. Thank you. We were talking before we came on that the weather is warming up a little bit in the Lynchburg area after we've had some snow and sleet and ice and everything pretty much the last month. Yeah. And I was asking you if you were enjoying that, and you seem to be pretty happy that the weather's getting better.
I am, yeah.
Even though back home, it's about freezing right now. So this, even 40, well, I'm going to try to use Celsius. I'm going to do my best. Even like 5 is better than what it is in Iceland right now.
Yeah.
Just barely.
Barely, yeah.
And so now it's going to be in the 60s here. So what would that be? My conversion's not great, but that's probably 16?
Yeah.
Something like that? Maybe 20? No, I'm too
maybe
low,
17,
I think.
18.
Okay, 17, 18.
Yeah,
okay.
maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can. Whenever I edit this, I can go right now. I'm going to put on the screen the conversion right there. It's there. Everybody knows, so that we sound smart. No, we don't sound smart, but it is tough. And has that been one of the biggest transitions for you? Because you come here and everything is feet and yards and miles and Fahrenheit, and it's certainly not that way back home.
No, not at all. Like, it took a while to get like used to what people were talking about, how hot it was or cold it was outside. But like in my math class, that all of a sudden we were doing like meters and kilometers, and I was like, oh, okay, I know that. So like it was good to have something that I knew.
There's a really funny Saturday Night Live skit where they talk. It's basically supposed to be George Washington when he first was starting the United States, the first president. You know, maybe even while they were still fighting the British, and saying all the different things that we're going to, in America, we're going to use feet and yards and miles, except for a few unpopular sports like track and field and swimming, which they're not unpopular. I don't want to get any of my track and field or swimming people punching me in the head. That wasn't me that said it. That was Saturday Night Live that said it. But it is funny because we do use meters some, but not really on the important things. So,
no.
Do you drive here?
I do.
Okay. So has that been tough when you look at the speed limit?
Not really. Like, I just go with the same, like, that sign that I see. Like, okay, like, I know it's the same as my car. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. So the car, as long as the car is telling you the right thing, that's all that matters. Yeah. But I imagine it would get in your head a little bit, like when you go back now, it would take a moment. But I guess as long as the car's set right, that's not a big deal.
No, yeah.
It's seeing how far it is so you see, it's like, okay, 60 miles to Roanoke, and having to translate because that's going to be longer than you're used to 60 being to your designation. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, yeah.
Wow. And are you guys left side drive or right side drive?
Right side, like same as here.
Same as here. Yeah. So that's good. At least because that always scares me is when someone who is left side drive comes to the United States and all of a sudden you wonder, is there a moment that they revert in their brain? Yeah. They're distracted and they try to go over on the wrong side of the road. And I would be worried about myself if I went to England or wherever that goes the other way. But that's always entertaining. Do you consider yourself a good driver?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've been driving like snow and stuff like at home, way worse than this snow. So like, I'm like used to everything, I would say.
Okay. Are you a good parker?
It depends.
Like the parallel, like when you have to go in like that? I
cannot do it.
Okay.
And the people that I drive with know that I'm like, oh shoot, I really want to like find some other spot rather than parking that one.
It's not easy, and you're supposed to go slightly past and then back in, and that's just not instinctive. It's not in our brains to go past something and then back into it. And then if there's other cars on the road, then that you worry that they're not letting you have enough room. So that's international. I think most people, if they fail their driving test, it's because they can't parallel park or they get points off because of that. So I think that's not just with you. I think if we did a survey of your teammates, most of them would probably have that same issue.
Probably.
What are some other things now that you've been in the States playing ball for a year and a half now? What are some other things that you've gotten used to, or what are some things that maybe you still haven't gotten used to?
That's a good question. I would say like how maybe people handling the weather, the snow. I don't know. I was shocked that we took 2 days off, like of school, like canceled school because of like this much snow. I don't know.
I think
I'm not used to it, really.
This is your very nice way of saying that we're soft.
Yeah, maybe.
That's okay, because times have changed, and I think in some ways it's just being overly cautious. I think it can be, I know with some of like the high schools and the elementary schools, it's fear of maybe being sued if somebody wrecks or a bus slides off the road or something like that. So they're just extra careful. But there was a time when Liberty was not as open to closing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like back when I was in school, we rarely closed, and as time went on, it got a little bit more to where okay. But I remember, I don't know if it was my freshman or sophomore year, that it had iced, and there was, I'm kind of exaggerating when I say that there was this much, like an inch of ice or 2 inches of ice on the ground, but there was a lot of ice, and we might have missed a day, but then we went back, and so you were kind of just ice skating around campus, even if you were, clearly I wasn't in skates, but I felt like I was sliding around campus. So I think maybe times have gotten to where maybe everyone's just a little bit more cautious. But I think you're right. If you were in New York or Pennsylvania, like where Bella's from, it wouldn't be like this.
But I do understand, like, if people are not used to driving in, like, those kind of circumstances, like, I don't want to be driving, like, out because I don't trust other people. Like, driving.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I do understand.
It's not as much about you feeling safe. It's as much about not knowing if someone's going to run you over.
Right. Yeah.
So the weather and us being soft in that, and I apologize because for someone who may be tuning in to their first show, they don't know necessarily all the backstory, the background, but you're from Iceland.
Yeah.
And it's north of England.
Yeah.
And so it's south of Greenland. So
yeah. Right.
West and southish. Maybe about the same as the bottom of Greenland. Maybe like it's about the same parallel as the bottom of Greenland.
Yeah, it's just like that.
I'll put a map up too so that people can see. But it's out. It's in the ocean, out in the ocean, and it's north of all parts of England. And we think of England as kind of having cold, dreary winters. So your winters would be similar to that. But Greenland actually is even worse. They've got more ice than Iceland, and you guys have more green than Greenland. And I know that's the old thing.
Yeah.
The last time we talked, there were some terrible volcanoes in Iceland. What's the update? Has that gotten better?
So I think it was like last Christmas or like last
January, I think.
January, yeah. That was like the worst one. That's when like it came into the town and burned like 3 houses.
Wow.
Yeah. So my family, like everyone had to like evacuate, and like people were just watching basically like the lava like running into the 3 houses, and we like no one knows like if it's gonna stop or not. Like people just watching their house like burn down. Basically just the same as like the LA fires.
Wow, I bet really you could relate to that for sure.
A little bit, but like my house did not burn down because my house was like maybe a mile, like mile and a half maybe from like the lava where it stopped.
Wow. So
it was really close, but like it was like a little bit up on the hill. So it would have to like keep going like a lot of time to like get to my house. But I mean, yeah.
It's scary though.
It is scary, yeah.
And that lava flow has stopped completely?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
And we had another one, I think, the other day. I can't remember when it was exactly, but that was like in a good spot. We say in a good spot, it was like if it is like a little bit outside of our town, because we're really used to like having it really close to our town. But like, and being like worried, like what is gonna happen? Like at some point, like we thought like it was just gonna open like right under our town.
Oh wow!
Yeah, because people like you don't know, even though all those scientists and all of those people like they just they don't really know though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
The probably the most famous eruption in the United States was Mount St. Helens, which goes way, way back, like the early 80s. But the scientists were expecting that it was going to erupt, and they thought that it would erupt like it had in the past, or like you would go up, like straight from the top.
Yeah.
And it blew out the side.
Yeah.
And so they had drawn up all this safe map. Okay, you're safe if you're outside of this area, because they were assuming it was going to go straight up. When it went out the side, it went way further to the east or west. I forget which direction it was. It went way further than they expected because they had no idea that it was going to go sideways. So I mean, there's when the Earth is involved, you never know what's going to happen.
No control.
And are earthquakes bad because of it?
Last year it was terrible. Like people were leaving town just for that. Like people were not sleeping at all. Like it was scary. But I was like, I'm just here. Like I was just here, and my family was like, we didn't even know what to do. Like so they left like the town. I went to my grandparents' house.
Is everything? Is the evacuation over and everybody's back? Or
so the town is open, but like there's no school going on. Like there are some like stores open, and there are some people that are living in the town. But like if you have children, like it's not safe at all, because all of the cracks, like there was this one, like you have a big like indoor like soccer field, and there was this huge crack like under the turd.
Oh my gosh.
Like just hidden. We didn't even know about it. So it's not safe for people or like children to like play outside like it was back in the day, like when I was growing up. So it is really different, and like I think it's gonna take a lot of time to like get to that place where it's gonna be safe for people or like children to play outside.
When was the first time in your life that the volcanic activity became an issue?
I remember I was at home, or like I wasn't here yet. We have having like a couple of volcanoes since 2020 or 21.
So it's been fairly recently.
Yeah.
It's not something like you grew up as a child and you can remember that there were problems.
Not the volcano, but I mean we had earthquakes, which was normal, but not any like eruptions. No.
Wow, that's scary. Is there a hope that it's going to go completely dormant and that things will go back to normal soon?
I don't know, actually.
Wow.
I have no idea.
That's something that I think most of us in the United States just can't relate to. I mean, we can relate to snow blizzards, we can relate to hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, fires, but not many people in the United States have to be anywhere near a volcano. I mean, there's only a very few in mainland. Hawaii gets a lot of volcanic activity, and I think probably Alaska, but there's not nearly as many people that live in those places. So, that's tough. Well, I'm glad things are a little bit better than the last time we talked, but hopefully this will. What's the name of the volcano?
Oh, there's no like name. Like there's been a couple of volcanoes, but I don't know the name of it.
Well, I was going to say, hopefully, if we knew her name, she goes back to sleep for a while, and we don't have to worry about her anymore.
Right.
So, remind me about your family back home.
Mm-hmm. So we moved out of the town, and we sold the house, I think to the government or something. I'm not sure. But like, we moved to the area where I went to, like where my club team is. So my siblings are playing with that club team. So we were like in that neighborhood in some apartment. Like when I went home in May, we had just got like a apartment from the government, like, and I didn't have a room.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was just like temporary. But now we have bought like a bigger apartment where I have my own room and there's just more space for everyone. But it's just hard because it's just way smaller than my house in my old town. So it's just different.
Getting used to it, yeah.
Yeah.
How big is your family?
We're 5.
Okay.
With me.
And so my memory is very bad. Brother and sister?
Yeah.
Okay. And everybody plays basketball?
They do. Yeah.
Who's the best in the family?
Me.
I knew I was putting you on the spot to say that. But do you guys like play one-on-one when you're back home?
Not really. But my brother is really like one-on-one like player, or like he likes to play one-on-one. He was always like with his friend playing one-on-one outside of like a garage. We had like a little basket on that. So he was always like there playing one-on-one. But yeah, I don't like playing one-on-one against them. They're like 15 and 14.
Ah, okay.
So there's no competition.
I see. Well, the other thing too is one of your best skills is passing, and if you're playing one-on-one, you don't have anybody to pass the ball to, so that takes away one of your best skills.
But I'm working on it. So
we're talking about passing, and there was a play in one of the more recent games when you threw a bounce pass, and Avery was cutting kind of to the back of the basket, and it looked like you guys had done that 1,000 times in practice, which you probably have done it 1,000 times in practice.
Yeah.
And when she was talking after the game, she was just like glowing whenever she's like, "Oh, Liz is such a good passer."
Oh.
Would you say that's your best ability?
I would. Maybe, yeah. I mean, I played soccer when I was younger, so I feel like that helped, like how I see the court and where people are running. But yeah, no, I love hitting the girls when they have the back door open. Yeah. And
soccer, I mean, you see that so much is being able to anticipate where someone's going to go, and then you have to lead them and put the ball on. That was just exactly what happened on that play. It was a bounce pass, but you can't throw it where she is, because if you throw it where she is, it's going to be behind her. You've got to lead her out, and it was perfect pass. But that's fun to watch, because I don't have anywhere near the ability level that you have. But when I used to play, and we were in high school and intramurals and things like that in college, the players that I watched growing up were the great passers, like Magic Johnson and Jason Kidd, and these are names that were way before your time, but maybe you've seen some highlights of them. But guys that they could anticipate where their teammates were going to be, and then sometimes if their teammates weren't paying attention, they could take a ball to the head. Have you ever done that with your teammates? No. Or, I mean, it happened, I think, in the LA Tech game that, I don't know, I thought Emma was just standing there and I was going to pass it to her, but she was coming for the handoff. It was just, we fumbled the ball somehow. But yeah, no, I've never, hit someone in the head, I think. I can't remember That's
anything.
Good.
Yeah.
If you played this long and you haven't ever hit somebody in the head, I can't say the same thing. My favorite play, and again, this is me talking about there's no comparison to what you're doing in the competition level that you're playing at, was one of my favorite things that I ever did was there was a guy cutting, and the defender that was on me was probably standing off by 2 feet, and I was looking this way, and I threw the pass, and it like you could see it go over his hair. It didn't hit his head, but you could see his hair go whoof as the ball went by, and he was like, "What happened?" And I was like, "Okay, I can retire now. I'll never do anything cooler than that." Right over his head, and the guy caught it and laid it in, and I was like, "All right, I'm done. I'm good. That's all I need to do." Well, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll finish up one final segment, talk a little bit about the classroom and how things are going as far as what you're studying, and then maybe a couple other little fun things before we finish up the show. We'll be back with more of the Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show right after this.
What's important isn't that Freedom First has been in business since 1956. What's important is how we've been doing business since 1956. Since day one, we have been accountable to our members, not stockholders. We make loans that cost less, offer savings plans that pay more, and give back to our community, and that hasn't changed. What has changed is our ability to serve you with more locations and more technology to simplify your financial life. Freedom First. It's a place where anyone in our region can bank for good.
The President's Day sales event is happening now at Lynchburg Nissan, and the savings are monumental. Get historically low rates, up to 130% of fair KBB for your trade, and unbeatable offers on 2025 models. Plus, every new Nissan comes with our million-mile powertrain warranty, giving you peace of mind for the road ahead. Don't wait, these historic deals won't last. Stop by Lynchburg Nissan today, or visit us online to claim your savings. Lynchburg Nissan, home of the million-mile warranty. Don't wait, these historic deals won't last.
You're listening to the Liberty Women's Basketball Show, presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Today's show will continue after this 1-minute timeout on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.
Turn up the heat. Foster Fuels is a proud partner of Liberty Athletics. Fostering warm moments for 100 years, Foster has been providing exceptional propane and gas services throughout Central Virginia and surrounding areas. From propane to fireplaces and tank installs to tankless water heaters, Foster does it all. Visit fosterfuels.com or download the app to order fuel, pay your bill, and more. Get the customer service you deserve and turn up the heat with Foster Fuels and the Liberty Flames.
Earthlight Mid-Atlantic, your trusted solar and energy efficiency experts. With a focus on honesty, education, and excellence, they light the way to savings, home comfort, and a greener future. Educating homeowners about the power of solar and energy efficiency is their winning game plan. Give Earthlight Mid-Atlantic a call today at 434-200-9716 or visit erepower.com.
Welcome back into this week's Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show. We're here with Elisabeth Aegisdottir. Close?
Yeah. Aegisdottir.
Okay.
Isn't
That's tough.
If you think
It's
about
tough.
Aegisdottir, then I'm fine with people saying Aegisdottir.
But so I'm putting too much of an S at the end of it.
Yeah.
It's more. So how would you say the very end of it is?
It's I and R.
I and an R. Okay. Okay. It's almost like, I feel like, and I could be totally wrong about this, that there's in the Spanish language, there's a few syllables that we're not used to.
Yeah.
And maybe that is kind of a syllable that we're not used to. And so you can either say it too much of an R, like you're saying, daughter, or in my case, I was putting an S in there, and it's not really an S in there. Okay, the next time we talk, we're gonna have this exactly right. Yeah. See, that's why I was nervous at the beginning. I still wasn't completely correct with this.
It's okay.
A little bit better than last year, but still not perfect. Well, Liz, before we went to the break, we said we were going to talk about studies. So what is your major? What is it that you're wanting to do whenever basketball is over?
So I'm majoring in sports psychology. But I'm not sure like what I want to do with it. Like I know I was coaching the younger girls when I was home before I came here. I really like that. I really like coaching younger people and like younger kids. And I feel like all the mental stuff is coming more, and the psychology is coming more into the game, and like it's getting more important. So like maybe something working with people, I don't know. And
well, I think you're talking about maybe performance and how you can take the psychological aspects of the game and be better and better about it.
Yeah.
But the other thing that's important right now is kind of the mental health side of it, which kind of all I think ties together because there's so many things that can stress out. I mean, I shouldn't just say 20-year-olds, but 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, whatever, any athlete that at any level, professional down to high school, there's things that are going to stress you out that can, if you're worried about those things, then you're not going to be focused on what's on the basketball court. That's an honorable profession, and I feel like it's still growing.
It is, yeah.
So
Definitely.
some people are not, are now just starting to kind of embrace how important it is to work on the mental side of the game as much as the physical side of the game. So
Yeah.
very cool. Would you like to play professionally after college if you could?
I'm planning to.
Okay.
I want to try it at least, but I don't know. We'll see.
Is there professional leagues in Iceland, or would you have to play elsewhere in Europe?
I mean, we have a league in Iceland, and it's getting better like every year. But I don't know. I feel like I've seen like girls from Iceland play like overseas, like in Europe, and I feel like it's really interesting, and I want to try it. I see how it is. It's definitely different than here, because I remember this one woman. She's retired now, but she played like all over. She went to TCU and then over played in Europe, and she said like it's just way different. Like everything is taken care of here, but overseas you're just really on your own somehow, and just you have to like perform because you're like the professional like on the team, so like you're expected to perform like every game. So like, I mean, we are expected to perform here too, but like everything outside the basketball like is taken care of here. It's just way different.
You basically just show up to play.
Yeah, and yeah.
And they're not as much. You gotta do all the other things as well. That's interesting. I wouldn't have guessed that, but I kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned that you played soccer growing up. Mm-hmm. What was the deciding factor to play basketball instead of soccer?
So I was always planning on like trying to play both like as long as I could, but then I was starting to get more playing time in like the top, like the senior team in my hometown. So I couldn't even go to like the soccer practice. So I was like, okay, I think it's time to like decide, but I just already decided like, yeah.
Well, with your height, if you would have played soccer, you would have been probably taller than just about anybody that was playing, I would think. I don't know. Is the average woman in Iceland on the short side, same as here, tall? Like,
I don't really know. I think it's maybe like, I'm just guessing, maybe 5'8", 9.
Okay, so that would be a little bit on the tall side.
I think so.
So, but do you stand out at your height? And you're, I know you're listed at what, 6'2". Is that real? Is that?
I think it's real.
Okay. Because sometimes it's not always exactly right. But so at 6'2", you walk down the street. Do people go, "Oh my gosh, look how tall she is"?
Not as much as here. I think people are just minding their own business at home more than here. Like when my boyfriend came to visit me, we were both pretty tall, and like people are always like saying stuff, like commenting on like us and him. But like at home, like I don't know. No, I feel like I'm pretty tall at home, but like still, no one like. Not like no one noticed, but like people notice, but like don't say anything maybe. Yeah.
I'm going to say that the people here are going to say, well, we're friendly.
Yeah.
But sometimes friendly and being in your business are very similar.
Yeah. I mean, I'm used to it now. Like people are always like, when I go to the store, or like not always, but like it happens like a couple of times, like, oh, you're really tall. You play basketball, right? I'm like, yeah. People just assume that you'll play basketball. I don't know.
Do you ever get volleyball?
Yeah. I mean, when I was with the other girls, like we were somewhere, I can't remember, and people are like, volleyball? Basketball?
Yeah.
Always those two. But
yeah. They're not going to say soccer because they're used to like the 5'5", 5'6", the smaller, and there are some of the defenders and goalkeepers are 6 feet tall, but for the most part, the average soccer player is probably about at least a half a foot shorter than you are. If you could pick a profession totally different than anything that you're doing right now, let's just say you got to have a wild dream and you wake up and you go, maybe even you could live someone else's life for a while. But if you could pick something totally different than what you're doing or what you're studying, what would you want to do?
Oh, that's a good question. I have no idea. Probably. Wow, I don't have anything that pops to mind.
Something adventurous?
Yeah, maybe like the scientist or something. I don't
know.
The
one studying the volcano. There you go.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I like that. So, see, I think some people, when they get that question, they'll say, oh, I'd like to be an astronaut and go to the moon, or a race car driver and go 200 miles an hour, or I'd like to be a fashion model and go to, the runway in Paris or something like that. So people usually pick something that's just that only 20 people in the world can do. So Formula One racer, you said you're a pretty good driver. So do you think you could get in and go 200 miles an hour?
No, I could never.
How about the moon? Do you think you could be an astronaut and go into outer space?
I don't know. I'm scared of heights.
That's as high as you can get.
Yeah.
So that's okay. Not that. Well, how about the fashion model or the movie star or something like that?
I could see myself going into that, in the fashion or like the makeup thing. Yeah.
And probably of all the things that we mentioned, that one is probably the most cutthroat, like where people will rip you apart.
Yeah.
That seems like that's a tough profession to be in. Even like in the movies, like you're scrutinized for everything.
Yeah.
The movie and TV stars. I could see you being on television. Have you ever done any acting or anything like that growing up?
No, I could never act.
No acting?
No.
So maybe a reality show. Cooking? Could you do it like a cooking show?
Maybe. I'm like decent cooker or
Okay.
But I don't know.
Well, there we go. That's something that we can tell. Amber needs to work on. We need to have a Lady Flames cooking show, and each of you get to host it each week and fix something. With all the different cultures, I think we would. Those of us that would maybe get to eat the food, we would be doing really well, because we would get to find out what Icelandic food is like, and we'd get the Spanish food, and we would get food from, the Netherlands, and so it would be. And then even here in the United States, there's so many different, types of food between the South and the North and people out West and everything else. Well, it's been fun chatting, and I hope you have a great end to this season and many more great seasons to come. And I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to be too shy to try right now, but I'm going to work again because I thought I had it and I wasn't quite there, but we're going to get your name right. Before you graduate, we're going to get it absolutely right. But Liz, thanks for coming on the show, and hope you have a great rest of your year.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
We're back with head coach Carey Green right after this here on the Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show.
At Carter Bank, we believe life is best lived full of opportunities and dreams, of goals achieved and promises kept. We've been creating opportunities for more people and businesses to prosper since 1974. That means great local lending, convenient access to your money, accounts and guidance that make it easier to get more done. We are Carter Bank, the preferred community bank of Liberty Flames Athletics. Visit carterbank.com to learn more. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Curious about the Central Virginia housing market? Carl Miller Realty are your caring, competent, trusted advisors for real estate sales in Central Virginia. With over 100 years of combined experience, they are committed to helping clients make informed housing decisions. For a winning game plan and to discover the value of your home, visit carlmillerrealty.com to make your next move a slam dunk.
You're listening to the Liberty Women's Basketball Show, presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Today's show will continue after this 1-minute timeout on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.
Thompson Brooks Insurance has been serving Virginia for over 40 years, helping individuals and businesses with their insurance and investment needs. The team at Thompson Brooks is experienced in understanding life and health insurance, Medicare, and retirement planning. Thompson Brooks Insurance can be reached at 434-385-8500 or online at thompsonbrooksinsurance.com. Thompson Brooks Insurance, Planning today for tomorrow.
Century Exteriors offers exterior home renovations, including but not limited to gutters, roofing, siding, home additions, and much more. Century Exteriors makes the process seamless. Call 434-239-6722 for a free on-site estimate or visit centuryexteriors.com and Century Exteriors on Facebook and Instagram. Century Exteriors is a proud supporter of Liberty Flames Athletics.
Welcome back into this week's Liberty Flames women's basketball show. We're now joined by head coach Carey Green. Coach, welcome in.
Thank you, Jamie.
It's been a light week coming in for the Lady Flames because it was the travel partner week. When you play, in Liberty's case, FIU, you only got one game. You get Thursday off. And I've got a question about that. Well, I'll jump back to that after I tell you what happened in that game. 73-57, Lady Flames won on the road down in Miami. A quick trip. Which is unfortunate that it worked out that way. It's a shame that the Miami trip's not a part of a 4-day weekend where you get a little bit more time in that nice warm weather. Not necessarily the gym, though, because the gym was about as cold as it was in Lynchburg when we left town and there was still snow and ice on the ground. They keep it chilly inside of the arena there at FIU, but overall a nice a trip down there, great win. The question I'm going to jump back to before we get to FIU real quick is the weeks where you only have one game, would you rather it be a Saturday game like it's fallen into place, or would you rather it be a Thursday game and have the Saturday free?
No question, do the Saturday game. Give you more time to prepare. It changes the schedule up, allows the players to go to class more, and it's just beneficial so many additional different ways than a Thursday, Saturday. So back to your question, Saturday.
Okay, that answers it. I wasn't sure how, that makes sense though, especially the class stuff, because that's one extra day of traveling while you would have classes going on. Hopping back before we get into the game with FIU, the building. I remember back in the Big South days, there was some players that would come into Lynchburg, and it might have been Brooke Weisbrod. I can't remember, but it was someone that I kind of kept in touch with after the fact, and who, by the way, she's doing some really big television broadcasts now. Saw her on ESPN in the studio. She's doing the games, doing excellent things. One of our former nemesis at Coastal Carolina, Player of the Year in the conference, but some of those girls would come in and they would say, okay, when we were playing in Charleston or I guess even Coastal in that case, it was hot, it was muggy, you would go in the gym and you'd be sweating, and then we would go up to Radford or we would go up to Liberty and it would be chilly in the building. It was a totally different set of circumstances. I feel like Liberty Arena is pretty regulated. It's pretty normal. I don't ever feel cold in Liberty Arena, but I felt really cold down at FIU this weekend, and it was so nice outside.
Yeah, it was certainly warmer outside than you would expect that in Florida, but that arena is unique. We left a lot of ice and snow up here, but that court, it actually has an ocean and a beach on one side of the floor and palm trees on the other, and it's painted on the floor. Disruptive, unique, different. And I felt like, as cold as it was, that was snow, not sand on the beach over there. It reminded me a little bit of the Conference USA, which is in a ice hockey arena, and it's cold there. So it was certainly cold, but both teams started pretty hot in that game, knocking down a bunch of threes. I think our first 12 points were 4 threes, and I think maybe their first 9 points were 3 threes. And so both teams really came out shooting the ball very well.
Is there anything to getting in an environment like that to kind of be able to say to the girls, this is what it's going to be like at the conference tournament, or is there enough time in between that's going to be a distant memory in their heads?
I just think, you look at the NBA, WNBA, how many games they play, just hundreds of games. And they get on the plane, they get there. It's the recovery and preparation is the most important because the courts are the same, the basket's the same. The lighting could be different, but the lighting on the court probably has to be at a certain standard. The lighting in the stands and the light show around is uniquely different. But you want to try to prepare your team as much as possible. Practice at game time, things like that, and get to sleep and all the little things that do add up. But so being on a court to shoot and walk through things and just see the court and not be just distracted on game day.
FIU, I feel like they should be better than they are as far as a record is concerned. I know they've got some injuries that they've been dealing with. They're not at 100% or even close to 100%. But even still, the talent that they have, the way they play ball, the aggressiveness, the physicality, that their record should be better than it is right now. They're a tough team.
Yeah, they really are. That was a good win. That's one of those Krispy Kreme wins. We like to celebrate and when we can, and we got typically a 24-hour rule. If we win or lose, we're going to navigate through that. If it's a loss, then why, and look at it and then just move on. We can't move forward looking in a rear view mirror all the time. So we count it as a good road win.
Avery Mills was kind of the offensive punch that you needed in the first half. A little bit more of a balanced attack, I guess, in the second half of the game. First, let's talk about your freshman, who certainly doesn't play like a freshman anymore, and the contributions that she's brought to you this year.
Well, we've had several come off the bench. Our bench has been outstanding all year. I'm not sure, Jamie, we've had a bench as productive as that bench. Brooke Moore coming back from a knee injury, but specifically I'm thinking you're talking about both Emmy Stout and Avery Mills. They both have had outstanding freshman years, and Avery, yes, she came out, played very good, was a great offensive punch early in the game. I wish she had taken a few more shots. We ran a play that she was open in a corner to shoot a three. She passed that up. She had a pull-up jumper that could have knocked down another 2 points there. And she's not a very selfish. She's not a selfish player at all. Very unselfish. So she wants to be fitting in, and she certainly fits in and has an impact when she comes in the game, as well as Emmy Stout. Now we look at Emmy Stout's numbers and things like that, and she went against a all-conference type performer in the post play, and she battled there, and her numbers were not indicative of how well she played. She played a really good game going against somebody that was I think she's a fifth-year senior transfer, and she's a freshman, so someone is 3 to 4 years older, maybe even more than her. She's done an outstanding job. That's where we sort of stand with those particular players. That bench, our bench, has really been outstanding all year long.
You mentioned Brooke Moore, and anytime you go back to a place where you had such a traumatic injury, I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of a mental hurdle, but it certainly didn't seem like it, because she was doing what we always see her do, getting above the rim, getting those rebounds, and doing some things on offense too.
Yeah, she's been progressing throughout the season, recovering and then progressing. We're in the progressing development stage, and she's certainly impacting the game, and our future really looks good with her being out there on the court. Her defense is becoming even more and more better, our offense is more refined, and has the ability to rebound with just about anybody, and she's just developing, and as I said, she's definitely going to impact the future.
We talk a lot about offense, and that's what the fans come out to see. They come out to see the points scored. But if you had to get a stop and you needed to put, let's just say, well, just for the sake of argument so that we don't have to go through 5, if there was 2 scorers on the opposition, one that's going to be more of a perimeter player and one that's going to be a little bit more maybe in between, what would be the 2 players that you would lock them down with?
Well, really, Brooke is one of them. You'd call her the glove, okay, because she's so long and has athletic ability. When she gets down, she takes up so much space and she's hard to get around. And even if you get around her, you better always have an eye in the back of your head because she can reach and block shots. There's no doubt. She'd be one of them. That next one was sort of a toss-up. You know, if somebody's trying to shoot inside, Bella will block the shot. Beat you off the dribble. Who really works hard is Anna. Really works hard. IQ, Jordan Hodges is pretty good. Overall, gutty, spaces very well. Asia Boone. And, she probably leads us in charges as well. So she's in there and she's, gritty type kid. Somebody that just is maximizing and giving her all. MAS would be pretty good. So I gave you a great political answer there. But there's no question that Brooke Moore would be at the top of the list. And you've seen it. You announced the game. Sometimes I'd be taking Bella out and putting Brooke in and just rotating for rebounds and defense, and a situation where somebody wants to shoot a 3 and we'll take a big out and see if we can still get that rebound as we're defending the 3 with smaller, quicker people.
And you have to have a lot of confidence in Liz as well in that situation because now she slides down to the 5.
Yeah. Let me change my whole numbers again because I would put Liz out there as my number 1. She'll get down on a small post, a small point guard. She'll get pushed up against a post player. Once I think about it, who can guard everyone, it would be Liz number 1 and probably Brooke number 2. And I named you about 4 or 5 that I have a lot of confidence with.
Yeah, we had a chance to talk to Liz earlier today, and you can kind of tell that she's getting more and more comfortable, not just in the American style of basketball, but just in the United States in general. And the more comfortable she gets, it just kind of comes out. She doesn't get those stats that are going to just absolutely jump off the page, but boy, is she consistent.
Yeah, especially on the rebound and defensive end, and high IQ, really high IQ. I know last game she played really good on defense, got rebounds. RMP did a great job on the defensive boards. She's just really consistent, especially on the defensive end.
As you look to this coming week, it'd be very easy to look past this next week because of those games that are looming to finish the year in Liberty Arena with Middle Tennessee and Western Kentucky. Those are the teams you're fighting with at the top of the standings, but you can't look past anybody. We've seen upsets all across the board as far as the conference, or if not upsets, at least close games and games that you wouldn't have expected to be close. But as far as Jack State and Kennesaw State, the 2 games coming up, we talk about contrasting styles, and it seems like maybe other than La Tech and Liberty, which seemed like they were pretty similar, there's almost a different challenge every single night that you go out in Conference USA.
Yeah, that's true. You have Sam Houston State's got their style. You have every program's got their style, and they usually develop it. And I don't think you can take a night off or a game off because you pay a price. You'll lose, especially on the road. So we're certainly going to be challenged at Jacksonville State, a team that's very deep as well as us. Team that loves to shoot the three, and you can't just focus on a Molly Kaiser, one player, or Harden at Kennesaw State, and they really run some good stuff. They try to press you and get you into turnovers and things like that. Contrasting games, contrasting styles, and you just got to be prepared for each one of those.
Well, for the fans that are tuning in for these upcoming two games, Jack State and Kennesaw State, anything that pops out at you as far as keep an eye on this stat? This is probably going to be the difference in those games.
No, I think I can't say like, hey, we have to rebound against this team or we have to do this on this team. They're both pretty well balanced, and I think even I've said this, the Molly Kaiser leading the conference and scoring, but when you start looking at the balance of Jacksonville State and who you're going to guard, that's a problem. When you look at Kennesaw State, then you're looking at a player that has been 4 to 5 times Player of the Week and actually is leading the conference in scoring with double-doubles, okay? Somebody does double-double, they're a pretty good ball player. And so I think she'd be in the running for Conference Player of the Year as well.
When we take a peek at the standings going into this Thursday, MTSU at the top, 13-1, Liberty 12-2, WKU a couple games behind, 10-4, and then you can throw New Mexico State in there as well. They're 8-6, and then it's a log jam. FIU 6-8, La Tech 6-9, Sam Houston 5-10, Kennesaw 5-10, Jack State 4-11. So there's a lot left to be played for in these final few weeks. And we focus on the top of the standings, but Kennesaw State and Jacksonville State are trying to work their way out of that play-in game, and so they've got a lot on the line too.
Yeah, no question. Everybody wants to win and try to position themselves to be as successful as they possibly can. And there's a lot on the line. Need to win at home. That's what. And hey, this is going to help us in overall standing. So that's what's going through the mind of K-State and Jacksonville State.
Coach, we appreciate your time and wish you guys nothing but the best. We'll see you down in hopefully sunny and nice Alabama here in a couple of days.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy.
That was head coach Carey Green. If you'd like to find out more information about how you can get tickets to those 2 final home games, go to libertyflames.com. That'll also give you the links on how you can listen and watch the games as well while the Lady Flames are on the road. That Thursday night game is at 7:30 Eastern in Jacksonville, and then a 2 o'clock Eastern game, same time zone, for Kennesaw State in Georgia. Until we talk again, this is Jamie Hall saying so long and God bless.
You've been listening to the Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Radio Show with head coach Carey Green. Today's show has been presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Start banking with Freedom First today. The Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show has also been brought to you by Carter Bank, Life Lived Full, Earthright Mid-Atlantic, your trusted solar and energy efficiency experts. By Foster Fuels, providing reliable service for 100 years. Freedom Heating and Air, serving those who serve us. Carl Miller Realty, caring, competent, trusted advisors. Lynchburg Nissan, nobody beats our prices. Nobody. Century Exteriors, experience and quality you can trust. Schedule a free estimate at centuryexteriors.com. And by Thompson Brooks Insurance, planning today for tomorrow. Liberty Flames Basketball is an exclusive presentation of the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.